Doing here. I am Allyson Lewis, and I think the reason people come to the 7-Minute Life, and I'm just going to be fully authentic, is that I had been in business for 30 years with a major financial services industry. I was very successful, but I was unhappy, and a lot of that came from the fact that I personally suffer from attention deficit disorder. And when I say, my guess is that all of us feel that way. If you feel that way, go ahead and put yes to everyone. Make sure you label everything to everyone. But I literally am diagnosed and medicated from that. So in complete authenticity, all of that, all of those things, the procrastination, it caused pain, it caused guilt, it caused stress and anxiety. And I know I am not alone. This procrastination thing is terrible. When you see your desk go from this to this to this and have stacks of paper, it's like those stacks of paper weigh well over 1,000 pounds. And every time you sit down at your desk, you feel the heaviness and the pain, and it's real. This is painful. So today we're going to be talking about something way different. I'm not going to talk to you about the theory of procrastination or why you procrastinate. The bottom line is, I know you procrastinate because I procrastinate. And so if you're new coming in on YouTube, I'm Allyson Lewis, and we are talking about procrastination. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say these webinars are free on Tuesdays, and we've had a tremendous number of people joining us. There are hundreds of people that register, and hopefully thousands of people that are joining us on YouTube. If you have been watching these webinars and gaining a ton of information from them, it's time to begin to use the tools, because the only way to come out of these things, and I'll come back to this, is to get a copy of what we do. You know, I used to be afraid to tell people, hey, come buy this. I am not asking you to buy this. I'm asking you the question, if you're coming to these classes to learn how to change your life, but you are not invested enough to buy the tools that are the transformation. So let me tell you how you can do that right off the bat. If you go to the 7-Minute Life, and that's THE, the number 7, minutelife.com, and click on /buy, B-U-Y. These planners are $24.95, and there's no discount. I'm going to quit discounting this information because time management has got to be worth something. And these planners are 90 days, and they are something that you need to come back over and over and over again to learn how to dig out of these things. So again, if you're new on YouTube, I want to show you what these things are. This is $24.95. What makes us different is I don't care how much you've procrastinated on or how much you can't get done. What makes us different is there's going to be a pain point in procrastination, because I don't care how much you get done. I don't care how organized you are. I don't care if you don't have one thing left on your to-do list. If you don't have time that you're spending on the things that are most important to you, your priorities in life, how much time do you spend focusing on love, friendships, faith? You know, if I have things I love on my desk, the first thing I want to say If I have some things I love, I'm not going to procrastinate on the things I love. Why do you need the tool? Are you procrastinating because you don't know your personal purpose in life? My purpose is to read, to learn, to grow. And my purpose is growing and sharing information that will help other people grow. That's what I want to do. The last thing I want to show in this book is what we're going to be talking about today. Let me get there. Let me come back. I want to make sure that you see these things because this is what the pain points are. This is where you're procrastinating. And I want to ask, how many unfinished tasks have you been procrastinating on for the last week, for the last month, for the last year, for the last 2 years? Do you even know how many things are unfinished in your life? And what about your home life? You know, we talk a lot, and I mean a lot, about what's unfinished in your home life. What have you not done because you're overwhelmed, you've procrastinated? I got an email yesterday from someone that wants to write a book. I've had the privilege to write 5 books. The last one from Simon & Schuster. How fun is it to not procrastinate on your dreams? So let me tell you first why you procrastinate, and then we're going to move right in to how you can finish things. What's the outcome of having a project that is important that you start and finish completely? My heart pounds when I physically turn something in. I've said, this is important, this project is important, and so I'm going to use tools that I didn't have before, and I'm going to get things done. I'm going to start getting things done. I'm going to be pausing in just a minute to take John and ask him to help us with the chat. As people join us via YouTube, we're talking about procrastination. In order to overcome procrastination, do you have a plan? So let's talk about why this is so important. This is an hourglass. If you have a pen and a piece of paper, I want you to draw an hourglass on your piece of paper. And I want you to physically start writing down some of the things that you need to do today. What's on your to-do list? I'm going to give you just a minute without interruption to write down those things that are on your to-do list. Physically. Do you have a project that you haven't finished? Do you have a task? I lost my driver's license, and it took me more than 2 weeks to remember that I had to go get my driver's license renewed or fixed, found. I'm flying out to Chicago to do a presentation in 2 weeks, and I needed a driver's license to get on the plane. But I procrastinated. Why? Because I didn't want to go sit in the line. Well, it only took me 20 minutes. How many things do we have expectations that are going to be awful and they're not? So how many things do you physically have on your to-do list? And I'm going to have you put those into chat, just a physical number. Do you have 5 things on your to-do list? Do you have 10, 15, 20? So John, I'm going to pause there and find out how many things people have on their to-do list that they're procrastinating on. So John, if you can come back online, we're going to talk about how many, a specific number. If they'll put it in chat, is it 5, 10? John, what are you hearing from all this?
Hang on just a second. Somebody just said 5, 8, 6.
Okay, y'all are the people. Y'all are the people that are good time management people.
26 Moster projects.
Woo!
10 immediate things. 17. 9. I love the fact Gene recognizes Moster projects. That's cool. 1 huge project, 4 to 7 subsets. Diane's got 16. Mark's got 8. Jan's got over 30, depending on how you break it down.
Okay.
7 and 2 projects.
I'm going to move on into what we're talking about. So I want to make sure as I'm speaking again, people can see me on the screen because I can only see John. So if someone will put in yes, I can see you. That'll help me know that you can see me. Today, we're talking about the 7-minute life. I want you now.
You got bunches of yeses. You're good.
Okay. I want you now to take a look. Let me get a black marker. Here they are. I'm going to erase this too. I want you to, oh goodness gracious. John, can you tell that I have ADD? I can't even find my own eraser. This is one of the most important concepts that I think have not been explored. Let's talk about this. And I want to talk about a solution, not just the problem. This is an hourglass, and we call it the choke point. The choke point. Let's say that the person that has 15 things on their to-do list, I want you to draw the hourglass, and just for hypothetical, I want you to write down 15 to-dos. And it seems like you could get 15 things done, like call a person, email a person, but let's give that a visual explanation. You have 15 things on your to-do list. I'd like you to draw these in. If you have 15, let's make them physical. 1 to do, 2 to do, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you're drawing them into the hourglass. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What are you beginning to see? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 things. I definitely think it is more powerful to see what it looks like to have 15 things on your to-do list. When you start looking at these to-dos, you will eventually hit what I call the choke point. It's not just that we have a few things to do that we can't get done. This is just today. When you start thinking about last week, how many things got stuck in the choke point? When you start thinking about last month, how many more things have you procrastinated on and not gotten done? When you think about the last 2 years, 2 decades, how does that make you feel? All of these things, not just today's to-do list, but when we have years of things that we have not completed, it causes incredible pain. It causes embarrassment, low self-esteem, anxiety, guilt, and in full authenticity, not only did I feel the anxiety and the stress, the reason I do these classes is that it impacted my mental health, and I fell into a depression. And I don't mean a little depression, I mean a life-affecting depression. And I know I'm not alone. Mental health awareness is key, because things like procrastination and looking at this choke point, there is no way that you can go to bed at night without these things swirling in your head. So let's move on. John, I'd love it if people would put in their chat while I'm erasing this, if they feel the same pain of the choke point, and I'm about to erase this. If you want to start fixing these things, I want you to have the tools, the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner. It's not cheap, you know. It's John, I'm hearing you, so I will stop in just a minute. But if you want to start fixing these things, it's the 7minutelife.com/buy. So I'm going to stop and erase all of this. John, I hear you typing. Is there something I need to answer?
No, I was giving folks just a second, but multiple people have chimed in that, yes, it's absolutely real. They feel the pain, and it's, you know, it's an ongoing issue for folks.
It is an ongoing issue. So now we're going to talk about the solution. And I am excited because this is something that I think people don't know. Okay, so I'm going to share my to-do list. So we start, there's a process that starts, it's 4 steps. It's a 4-step process. And if this isn't so easy that you can hardly stand it, if you're looking to begin to dig out of the pain and the guilt, let's talk about 4 things that you can do to make that happen. At the very beginning of the evening, before you leave work or before you go to bed, I want you to create what we call just a brain dump. Don't let those things swirl through your head during the nighttime. Just put everything out of your head into a brain dump. The first time you do that, it's likely that you'll want to take a long time and write everything down. Not just one thing, but everything that's putting you in the choke point. Now, we're not going to solve that all at once, but in the evening before you go to bed, I want you to take 7 minutes to create a brain dump, and in the end, it's going to create your to-do list. So now I'm going to get rid of that. YouTubers and Facebook people, if you're not familiar with what we do, we're the 7minutelife.com. And so we're talking about getting everything done. And for those of you that joined the webinar late, I'm Allyson Lewis. I feel like I should say, hi, I'm Allyson. I struggle with procrastination. So step 1. Step 2. I'm going to show you my to-do list, but I want you to take what's on my to-do list and put your things on your to-do list. So here we go. This is Allyson's to-do list, and this is real. This is my real to-do list today. I had a webinar prep. Because today we have a webinar. I worked on it yesterday. I worked on it this morning. I wanted to make sure that we had the information available to sell our planners for $24.95. Why? Because I want people to have the tools, and I want it to be so easy that all they have to do is go to the 7minutelife.com and hit buy. So that was on there. I also am a writer. I write for Morningstar .com online. It's a 1,000+ word article, and it's due on 04/15/17. I also am teaching a class in Chicago for investment news, and I want you to be writing down the to-dos that you have on your list, investment news, and have a hard stop deadline that my PowerPoint presentations and the handouts are due on the 13th, which is 2 days away. Now I'm going to write down one more. I also need to order new business cards. And that comes through my handy Vistaprint, but there is no design for this, no design. Okay, so, and I have a lot of other things, but I wish we had time for you and I to sit face to face and have a conversation, because I guess, my guess is your to-do list looks something like that. Now, I want to say that a mental influence counts for nothing. A mental influence counts for nothing. I mean, a mental to-do list. A real to-do list has to be written down. It has to be written down. And so the next step is how long would each one of these take? This is where we miss our point. The webinar prep from yesterday until today took me 5 hours. 5 hours. And sell the planner, and I do see people asking, is it infomercial? Absolutely it is. I want people to invest in these things, and that's not all it is, but if we don't have the tools, I've got to sell the planners. In order to do that, it took me an hour to get the pages set up. The Morningstar article, which is due on the 15th, it's 1,000 words. That's going to take me 5 hours to do. The investment news, PowerPoint, slides, and handouts, that's likely going to take me 7 hours to do. And ordering business cards, you know, you think that won't take very long, but that's probably going to take 2 hours. And I want you to write down the timetables of your to-do list. How long is it going to take you to do these things? This is a step that almost everyone misses. We write down our to-do list, and this is just part of mine. But we don't know how long they're going to take. We have no idea. And then what we typically do is we say, okay, this webinar prep is going to take 1 hour. We underestimate it. I might have thought it was going to take 4 hours and 1 hour, but it took 5 hours. Creating all this, not only was I behind because I procrastinated, John had to help me do it. I thought it was going to take an hour. No, it took about, I don't know, me working on it and everything else, it took 1.5 hours. The Morningstar article, I already know how long it'll take because I've done it several times. This investment news, I have no idea what it'll take. But my guess is it'll take 7 hours. But in the past, I may have said, oh, it'll only take me a couple hours to get that done. And this business card, I really have no idea. So all of this, let me erase some of this. Literally, and I do this, all of this was on my to-do list today. I had done the brain dump, I had done all these things. Now, let's add, good gracious, these things are on here. Let's add all these things up. 5 hours. This one took 1.5 hours. It's already taken the time up. Morningstar article, 5 hours. Investment news, 7 hours. And then the business card, 2 hours. Now I'm going to erase all this so that I can have more time. But I know I am not alone. See if I can do that. Okay, so you've got your to-do list. Let's add this up. 5 hours, 6.5, 11 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours, 27 hours worth of work was on today's to-do list. Look at your own and see how many things you have on your to-do list. How in the world am I going to get 27 hours worth of work done today, and I have hard stop deadlines? What have I done? I procrastinated. Now, not as much as you would think, but as everybody's seeing the problem, we come in with a to-do list that is incredibly ridiculous not doing. It is simply not doable. We have all these to-dos. They take way longer than we think. 5 hours, 1.5, 5 hours, 7 hours, 2 hours. We add it all up, and today, we think we can get 27 hours worth of work done, and so therefore not only procrastinate because we have too much to do, but we don't get things done. So John, I'm going to just stop there and ask John to open up and tell me what's going on in the chat. John, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute. Actually, we haven't had any questions come up other than Claire. She asked if it was informational. It's kind of funny because you said absolutely, and I was like, no, this is, but it's, and my point was being, and I was messaging Claire real quickly, the planner is, we definitely want people to know where and how to get the planner, but also this is an actual hour of honest goodness training of, how to manage your time. I guess it's both one and the same. So that was the only question we've had so far. We might want to see, is everyone kind of grasping the concepts that Allison's lifted up? And if not, is there anything we need to slow down and unpack a little bit? Or how's it going? Is everybody tracking us so far? And if not, though, let us know, because I know we have some new folks on the line that some of this may be totally brand new material. I'm getting several people saying, got it so far. Yep. I think we're all good. No questions. Kayla says presentation is great. Thank you, Kayla.
Well, I appreciate what Claire's saying. I really do. I absolutely appreciate that because, but at the same time, I want to make people comfortable that these tools work. I mean, this is how I started helping. So now that was step 2. So let me review. John,
looks like people are getting it. Vicky said, yes, the time involved is enlightening for the to-do list. Angela asks or says, reasons why people procrastinate so overwhelmed. I can be frozen into inaction as to what to do first. Allison's choke point is a good illustration of this. One other person said, when I get overwhelmed, I tend to do absolutely nothing at all. So I think we're getting at the fact that this choke point is so critical for people to understand in terms of procrastination. The procrastination, prevention of procrastination starts with reducing your sense of overwhelm, not just getting clarity on what needs to be done. In fact, sometimes I've actually sat down and broken down and tasked out everything I need to do and created overwhelm, like it was necessary for me to get it down to actionable things. But then when I saw how much I just really had to do, it was overwhelming. So, anyways, just lift that up. And one last, we got a couple other quick things here. Let me see what we've got. Some people. Diane says there's another course out there on this subject for about $400. I have the planner. It's been so helpful. Allyson, John offer so much training that goes along with planner. So I learned how to use the planner to develop better time management habits. That's a key word there that actually make all the difference in helping me identify and focus on priorities. And then John Landy says, Allyson, I'm a writer, have ADHD, PTCD, I am a top producer in the financial industry. Oops, my comment skipped. Hang on a second. And I've been procrastinating on developing my unique approach in business succession planning. Would love to meet with you when you're in Chicago. Woot, woot. That's awesome. So let me save this chat so we remember that.
All right. So I'm going to go on and continue on if you'll keep track of the chat. I'm going to do a little review. I know we have new people coming on Facebook and on YouTube, so I want to let them know we're talking about procrastination. So let me do a review. First step is to create a brain dump. You know, I think that's where some of the relief comes from, is getting everything out of your head and just on a piece of paper. And that's on that unfinished work task and home task. And those are not just the things that we've procrastinated on. Those are things that we dream about. You know, writing the book, going to exercise. So this is the first step. And that may be whenever. The second step is to create your to-do list. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I actually have 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We create the to-do list. That's number 2. We have to create it on paper because our memories are fragile. The third step is how long? How long will each one of these to-dos take? I think this is the missing link of the to-do list. Not knowing how long a task is going to take forces us into procrastination, because what we'll do is we'll start a task, realize how long it's going to take, and think, I can't get that done because I have a ton of other things to do. Step 1, get it out of your head, for, you know, just everything out of your head. Step 2, create your tomorrow to-do list. Find out how long they'll take. So this one may take 30 minutes. And these are estimates. This one may take 5 minutes. We anticipate this one will take 45 minutes. And then 15 minutes, and maybe 2 hours or 6 hours. And when you see that, all of a sudden you realize there is no way. For me, it would have been 27 hours. There is no way I can possibly get that done. It's not that I've just procrastinated. I feel like I have too much to do. Step 1, create your unfinished task list. Step 2, think about tomorrow. What do you have to do tomorrow? Step 3, take a reality check. How long is each one of these tasks going to take? It becomes obviously that there is no way you can get these things done. It is impossible. So we need to get rid of the guilt. We need to get rid of all this thing that says, I am superhuman, I can get it all done, even if it means I don't get sleep, I don't spend time with my family, I don't write my book. What's step 4? Step 4, if you cannot get all of these things done, then you must decide what's important today to get done. So you look at your list and you say, yep, I've got to do this one first. It's going to take me 45 minutes. I need to do this one second. It's going to take me 2 hours. I've got to make this phone call. It's going to take me about 5 minutes. And I need to do this, which is going to take me 30 minutes. And by the way, this thing that's going to take me 6 hours is due in 1 week. I've procrastinated on it for a month, and I'm now coming up on a deadline, which is causing me absolute chaos. And I think to myself, when in the world am I going to get this 6-hour piece done? All right, so let me erase this. And now here's where 2 solutions come in. We've talked about some of the steps that you need to take. Now let's continue with some of the solutions, excuse me, using tools that we've created. We have hundreds of people that are coming into these classes. They are hearing about what we do, but they don't have the tools to take action. Again, let me repeat. Step 1 is a brain dump. And you may ask yourself, why am I repeating all these things? Because I know even as you're on this class, your brain is going 1,000 different directions. So it's important to recap. Step 2, go ahead and take what all of this craziness is and create what you think you can do tomorrow. So you make out your list and you ask how long it's going to take. You create a reality check, and then you have to, number 4, you have to then prioritize what you really think you can do. Step 1, brain dump. Step 2, to-do list. Step 3, how long is it going to take? Step 4, prioritizing how you're going to get that done. Again, I'm going to go back to the planner. This is why I created it. If you're not familiar with the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner, I do want you to know about it. Why? Because all of these things, you need tools to do. You can learn about them, but how do you do them? When you want to do your brain dump, you're going to come into a section that looks like this. Now that's going to take a lot of time, but do you have one book, one place where you have all of the things that you've been procrastinating on? There's not just one page, there's not just 2 pages, there are 4 pages of things that we procrastinate on. That's the brain dump. You create a to-do list that you think you can do tomorrow. To-do list. And then you begin to narrow it down into 5 things that you will commit to do tomorrow. So out of all these things, you now prioritize them into how many, and we call that the 5 before, the 5, oh my goodness, that didn't work. The 5 before 11 list. When you walked in the office this morning, did you have some random brain dump written on envelopes? Did you have a true to-do list? Did you really know how long it would take, and had you prioritized those things? This 5 before 11 list gives you the opportunity to do this. A lot of people, I was in sales when I did this, a lot of people use this to create their to-do list, this sign. They then create their how long is it going to take. They then look at that reality check and say, okay, here are the things I want to do. 2 more problems and 2 more solutions. This is about to get exciting. At least I'm excited about it. And then, John, after this, I'm going to again open up for chat for just a minute, because the last 30 minutes we have Q&A. All right. Biggest problem on these to-do lists. A lot of these things are going to take an hour, 2 hours. Some of mine are going to take 7 hours to do. So people are very familiar with this 5 before 11 concept. They understand that in order to move forward, what would it mean if you chose to narrow down your to-do list into what we call 5 high-value activities? Let me repeat that. You've taken it all down. You've done the brain dump. You've created the to-do list. You know how long it's going to take. You've prioritized them. What if you now transferred them to a written plan, that was in one place, and yes, it's in the planner. I do want you to get it. The 7minutelife.com/buy. If we don't have the tools, how are we going to implement the things? You prioritize these things all the way down until 5 before 11. What are the 5 things you're going to do before 11 o'clock? Why is that so important? I'm going to erase this again. Why is the 5 before 11 so important? If you took these tools and accomplished 5 high-value activities before 11 o'clock in 1 week, 5 times 7 high-value activities. This is why our tools are so important. You would have accomplished 35 high-value activities. 35 things that you did not procrastinate on, that you started and completely finished and marked off your list. Let that sink in. If you take all these things that you've been procrastinating on and break them down until where you are going to commit to accomplish 5 things before 11 a.m., in a week you would accomplish 35. But what if you use this platform for 90 days? The planner's a 90-day period. 90 days times 5 things, you're going to accomplish 450 tiny steps forward. 450 things that you no longer have to procrastinate on. Can you imagine? 450 things out of your life. When we started, we talked about walking in to your office and seeing those file folders. And it's not that they weigh what they weigh, it's that those file folders weigh 1,000 pounds. And every day that you walk in, those file folders begin to be carried on your back, and they never, ever go away. And when we look at those file folders and we know we have high-value things that we're talented, we love to do, we can do, but unfortunately, what holds us back is this terrible choke point, because we have all these things coming in and we're choked. This is the last thing I'm going to say. The choke point, I'd like you to write this down. The choke point that you've had for years, it is never, never going away. The choke point you've had for decades and years, that choke point is never going away. Let me take a sip of water. I'm gonna make my last point, because that doesn't sound so happy. All of this stuff that you've had for decades, that choke point is never going to go away. So why do I sit here in front of you and say that I've lived through it, it's caused me pain? Why do I want to say it never goes away? Because every day is a new day. The 7-Minute Life, our tools, the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner, every day is a new day to choose to live inside your priorities. All that other stuff, it's not going away. But can you today decide that you're going to live inside your purpose? Today, you're going to have a new opportunity. What if you only put 5 things into this? 5 before 11. Would it be possible for you, if these things are tiny enough, to literally ignore all of those things and do what you said you would do? Get rid of that. There's one last word. Did you do what you said you would do? Did you do what you said you would do today? Why is that important? Because at the bottom of every page, there's a yes or no question. Did you do what you said you would do? And there's the key word, today. This is important. If you want to begin to participate using our tools, the 7minutelife.com/buy, you can buy the planner. Yes, I do want you to do it. I appreciate those people. I appreciate everyone that is concerned about this, really talking about our product. But I don't think you can do these things on your own. So John, I'm going to open it up. And then during the question and answer, I'm also going to make another offer, a purchasable offer that I think is going to be life-changing. And so, John, I'm going to open it back up to you. You may have comments. You may also have questions that people are asking.
Okay. Yeah. Jer had a question quite a bit earlier. I was waiting for a pause for. He said, I'm hoping you'll address what to do when, because of bad habits, I now really do have much more than I can actually do. What do you do when there are brush fires everywhere?
You call Jerry and commiserate.
That's funny.
Okay, John, here's the answer to that. This is an entirely different course. It's one of our basic pieces. What's he saying?
That's why I laughed. Samantha said, call the fire department.
Okay, so these are the brush fire pieces. We all have them. If you will, draw 4 circles on your page. There are 24 hours in a day. And these brush fires are going to happen. That is why we only want 5 before 11. Because hopefully, if we do these small 5 things, it leaves us time for other pieces. But this 24 hours a day, they're 1,440 minutes. We ask people to take 1% of their time, which obviously is 14 minutes. We want you to take 7 minutes in the evening and 7 minutes in the morning to plan, because I want you to plan for these. But let's talk about the brush fires. Let's talk about the brush fires. They happen every day. One of the things that happens a lot is that someone that's supposed to be helping you with a project, they don't show up, or your child gets sick, or something happens in your life that was completely unexpected. But here's another piece that we'll be talking about on another class. There's a 15-minute increment tool. It's a way to plan your day. Let's look at my day today. I started at 9 a.m. prepping for this class. It's going to go until 12:30. And then I'm going to have a debrief with John. Debrief. For another 30 minutes. So a lot of people look at my webinar schedule and they think, oh, Allyson, that's only going to take 1.5 hours of your day. Yes, it's going to take from 11 to 12:30. 12:30. But we've underestimated that. I started at 9 a.m. It's going to end for me at 1 p.m. And I put 5 hours of time in it last night. We can't come into a staff meeting or a project and think, because I'm having a meeting, it's going to take from 11 to 12. It took 5 hours. I can't do the math. 3.5, I think. And then, so anyway, this project probably took close to 10 hours. You may have an hour and a half on your schedule, but it's only going to take that long. Okay, so it's 1 o'clock. I have a meeting from 1 until 2:45. I have Bible study at 6:30. I need to leave at 6 p.m. All those 10 things that I needed to do, I now have between 2:45 p.m. and 6 p.m., which is 3 hours and 15 minutes to get 10 things done. All of these things are tools that we help people. Your day's the same way as my day. Have you written down that all of those things? I've got 3 hours and 15 minutes to do all that. That's why I procrastinate, because not only have I written a to-do list, not only do I know how long it's going to take, but I haven't written down a realistic schedule so that I know I only have 3 hours and 15 minutes to do all of that. So therefore, I have to procrastinate even though I don't want to. That's an entirely different class. Let me just share one last thing. And, you know, this is another sales, and then we're going to open it up. We are going to be doing Thursday the 13th at 6 p.m. I'm going to give you an opportunity to spend 2 hours with me. We're going to take this project management, this daily, why am I so overwhelmed? We're going to take this project management and we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to be live. You're going to be live. We can only hold 25 people. Thursday, the 13th, and I have no idea how to price it. So this is going to be interesting. I want you to price it. John, I'm going to ask people in chat, what is it worth to you to have 2 hours to talk about project management? What is it worth to have a one-on-one conversation with people that can make this happen? It's 2 days away. If you struggle with procrastination, what is it worth to spend an hour? Yes, it's going to be recorded. I want dollar amounts. What is it worth? Dollar amounts. Low, high, John?
I haven't seen any yet.
Boy, if only one person signs up, they're going to get a, they're going to get a good deal.
Samantha said priceless.
I need a number. Because I'm going to actually make it that number. I have not priced it yet. So literally, I'm going to go in. Let me share my screen. I'm not trying to make a ploy. I'm literally going to go in right now. Manage project. Can you see my screen, John?
Yes.
I have it priced at 0 because I'm going to set the price based on what people say. I literally have no idea what it's worth. I haven't come up with a price, so I'm going to get the group to come out with a price.
David has said $75. You know what, actually, and he may not, David, I'm sorry if you may have meant for that only to come to us as panelists, and I didn't realize that it was sent just to us, so I hope I didn't, if you were trying to do that privately, I hope I didn't inadvertently put that out there when you didn't want me to. And if people would feel more comfortable responding, click on all panelists, and it will only go to Allyson and I, if that would make you feel more comfortable sharing what you think it's worth. And I will make note of, I'll be sure to look before I leap next time and see if it's come to all panelists.
And as soon as y'all come up with the price, I'm literally gonna put the price in. You'll watch me. I will make it live, and it's going to be the 7minutelife.com/project, but we have not created the price yet. So,
okay, thank you, David, that I didn't put a price out there you didn't intend for everyone. he actually just wasn't able to send it to everyone, but
okay.
But David has said 75, and so far that's the only answer we have had.
Well, David, if you sign up, it's going to be me and you. So
You're said I'm with David.
Okay, John, I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be $75.
Okay, somebody else said 50 to 75.
Okay, I'm going to say 50.
Jerry, thank you. I was going to ask you how to, you know what, I need to get used to asking people how to say their names when they're spelled in some way I'm not familiar with.
Okay, John, I've never done this before. Can you see 50?
I've got someone says, someone's $50, and I've seen 50 to 75.
Okay, I've made it 50.
You made it 50? Okay.
John, will you test it? I have saved.
Diane has asked, can you tell us more about the product?
I can. I have made it $50, John. I just thought this would be fun to do. The 7minutelife.com/product.
I'll say a word about
project. I'm sorry, project.
I'll say a word about the class, though I'm not in it per se. But Allyson was talking with me before the webinar on it, and I'm not sure if you picked up. It's not just a discussion about project management, but correct me if I'm wrong on this, Allyson. This is really an opportunity for them to bring a project they're working on and sort of workshop it with you, where they can lift up the projects they're working on. You can help them apply 7-Minute Life principles and tools to it and get them over humps where they might be stuck in that project management process. Is that correctly explained?
Yes, it is a live meeting. with me, you'll be able to talk, you'll be able to see me, I will be able to see you, and it ends up looking just like what we're on, except we can all see each other. And you can talk to me, and I can talk to you, and we can talk to one another. So it's going to be 2 hours at $50, and you go to the 7minutelife.com/project, and that's for project management. And when you go there and you hit register now, I have made it the price that you guys have said. Whoops, I've got 2 of them in there. I'm going to make it one of these.
Diane was asking how many sessions. This is a single session, correct?
Yes, it's one session. Hang on. I need to remove everything. It's one session, 2 hours, but it's live with me. So let me go back, John, because I had too many things in there. I'm going to go to a private window, and then we'll talk about it. But we also may have other people that have other questions. I have not done this. It's Thursday, so that when you come in and you have these questions while they're fresh on your mind, project. Is that right? When you click on project, 7minutelife.com, it's going to take you here to register now. It's a 2-hour class. It is $50, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You know, people may not want to do that, but I cannot imagine wanting to sit down with 25 people, because that's all we got. 25 people. If we sell out, we will create another time. But it's the 7minutelife.com/project. I'm going to leave that up there. John, what questions are we having?
We haven't had any more since.
I'm sorry, we had someone ask what's it going to cover, right?
Well, I haven't seen that, but that would be a good thing to discuss.
Okay.
I mean, somebody did ask, could you tell us more about the product?
Yeah, it's going to be 2 hours. You're going to come into the class. We're going to send you several of these tools, not the planner, but we're going to send you these tools. You're going to take one of those projects that you've been procrastinating on, and it's driving you crazy. So we're going to send you today, or I guess tomorrow, because we don't know who's signed. We're going to send you a tool that's called Project Management. And we're going to have you create one project that's driving you crazy, and have you on your own time, before we get started, break it down into steps that you think you're going to have to take before you can make this happen. With 25 people all kind of talking, we're going to talk about how you solve those problems. First thing you do is you break them down into what we call micro actions. You have to break them down small enough that they're somewhere between 2 seconds and 20 minutes. Why? Because you've got to be able to start it and finish it in tiny amounts. We're going to learn how to do that. If on your project management, let's say mine, because I have this coming up, I've got to complete, the PowerPoint slides for this event. That's going to take me 7 hours. One of the problems is we may come in and say, brand PowerPoints. Well, guess what? That's not something I can do in 20 minutes. We tend to put projects that we still can't do, and we haven't broken them down into tiny things that we literally can do and mark off on our timeline until we get to a place that that project not only is planned, but is scheduled until we get to a point that it is done. So in 2 hours, you'll be working on your project. We'll be talking with other people so that they can figure out what are the problems, what's holding me back, why am I procrastinating, and they're only going to be 25 people. John, what questions are we having about procrastination, about the class? What else are we having? You're muted, John.
Jerry asked, what is word in bottom right corner? Looks like maybe a DOR or DPR or DQR or something.
vision test.
Molly is our team leader. It means that you get there to a place that you are done.
Oh, done. Okay.
Move. If this is the beginning of the project and this is the end, where you can say, I am done, like you are done. When I wrote a book, I had to start it. Done was receiving it back in the bookstore. So how do you get to done?
Leah was asking about the time. It starts at 6 p.m., but I want to make sure people understand that 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yes.
So, if you're on the East Coast, that's going to be 7 o'clock, and I think that's where you are, Leah, if I'm remembering right. And Robert wants to know if there'll be coffee. You can bring coffee or whatever your beverage of drink is, or beverage of choice is.
There'll be coffee and chocolate, but you have to bring your own.
BYOC, bring your own coffee, bring your own chocolate. Jean said, I just finished a 5-week project, 1 microaction per day, thanks to this process. And Jean did a Herculean project over that 5-week period. It was pretty awesome.
Okay, just
I'm not seeing any other questions right now.
I thought it'd be interesting for you to see. This is
somebody asked Central Standard Time or Central Daylight Time. Actually, we're on daylight savings, so it should be Central Daylight Time. Correct, Allyson?
It's currently 12:10 here.
Yeah, so.
John, can you see my screen?
Yeah, where you see your wall?
Yes, this is actually what I did last night, is I broke down everything. This is kind of something that you can see. I hope this is helpful. These are the things that I had written down in order. And so because I want to make sure that I can break things down into tiny pieces. Is that helpful? This was project management for this event. And I have to see it. I have to see it. So I thought that might be interesting for people to see.
I'm going to interject something while we're waiting on other questions. Jerry had asked earlier about this whole thing of brush fires and truly having far more than you can do because of bad habits. And I assume by bad habits, Jerry's talking about, probably taking on more things, not being realistic about time, managing time, having procrastinated, so things have dogpiled. There's a lot of things that get us in that place. He said procrastination and not saying no. Yeah. There's a couple things. Jerry, we didn't spend much time on prioritization and purpose in this webinar, but being really clear on your priorities and your purpose, those become the filters that you use to make choices, and it allows you to say no much more easily. Now, that's not going to take care of what's on your list at this moment necessarily, because you're going to have to triage what's dogpiled there. But you want to be sure you back up and get your purpose statement and your priority statement done so that you can use that to really guilt-free begin to start saying no to some things that come your way. So that's kind of, stopping the flood that comes in. And sometimes we need to sit down and take a really hard look at what has dogpiled up, and we have to make some tough choices and cut our losses, sometimes at an expense. Sometimes we just have to own the fact that I'm not going to get all of these things done. And knowing that, I can either consciously choose to eliminate some, and Allyson just put the word prune, consciously choose to prune some things off or I can continue to procrastinate, and those choices will be forced for me, and sometimes, though, in very detrimental ways. I find it's always better to make a conscious choice to prune something than for it to fall by the wayside because of neglect, because there's no way I can realistically get everything done. So it would be really good to brain dump all the things that you feel are hanging over your head right now, and go through that. And as you create that unfinished task list, Allison's holding up an unfinished task list. As you create that list, I would go through and look at that and ask yourself seriously about some of those things or all of them. What if I don't get this done? And you'll find some of those things, really, you've made them a priority that maybe they don't need to be. And if, sometimes the price of letting it go or the control of it, for me, I found a lot of times I got things stuck on my list because I wasn't willing to let go of it, not let go of the task, but let go of the work. I'll give you a perfect example. And this is not to be braggadocious. I'm capable of a lot of things. I'm a handyman. I can do woodwork, electrical, da da da. I did an unfinished task list a couple years ago, and I noticed that I had an inordinate amount of repairs that needed to be done on that list. And here's the big mistake that a lot of people make when they won't say no or they cling on to a task. There's a big difference between can I do something and should I do something? Okay, so there are all these tasks. I had all kinds of things that I'm capable of doing, but should I be spending my time on that? And there were a number of these. I had to swallow my pride and say, you know what? Just because I can fix that doesn't mean it's the highest and best use of my time. And I went ahead and I paid to have somebody else do some of those repairs. And that was hard for me. I don't know what that was rooted in, but that was really hard for me. But it was so freeing to be finally liberated from those hanging over my head. And it had to do a lot with my need to be in control over that activity and realizing that somebody else could do it quicker, better than I could. I just needed to deal with that, let go of it, and delegate it or outsource it and pay somebody else to do it. Ton of different repairs. I had some sprinkler heads broken in our yard and stuff like that, I know how to do that and I can do that. But really, is that the best use of my time? No, it's not. And I can probably, in the time my time spent producing something rather than doing that repair is far more valuable. So I would take a really good hard look at your list and also look at what you have said yes to that you're regretting or resenting now, and try to drill down a little bit and figure out why you said yes to it so that you can begin to put that on your radar so that next time those kind of requests come along, you'll say no. The one last piece I would add is go to our website and type in the search bar how to say no, and you'll find 2 posts when you do that search. One is just a blog post, and I would call it the Cliff Notes, okay? The other one is a webinar that we did on that topic, probably 3 or 4 months ago. No, it was almost 5, 6 months ago. But just search on our website how to say no and look at either the blog post or the recorded webinar, and it will go a long way. All right, Diane said, amen, that's a hard lesson to learn and implement. What did I say yes to that I'm resenting? Okay.
One of the questions when it comes to procrastination is who controls your high value activities? Is there someone else that says, I need you to do this and here's the deadline? Who controls those things? So a lot of times it's not me. You know, it depends on what you're in. Who makes the decision? And then, you know, are you procrastinating on it? And here's a couple of things that I do want to add that I think are really key with procrastination is when we're procrastinating, a lot of times we don't have enough training. And so depending on if you work on a company, that's one of the things we do here. We procrastinate on projects because we don't know how to do them. We don't even know how. We also have not been given hard deadlines. We've not been given any clarity. There are no milestones. There are all these things that we run into because we don't own who's telling us to do the activities. And when they tell us to do something, they haven't clarified what the end is. They haven't given us milestones, so they're not helping us create those things. They have certainly not given us the training that we need, so we're having to figure it out ourselves, which slow it down. And we don't even know the deadlines. When do they want it? And worse is they've said we want you to do something, and then all of a sudden, midway through, they said, no, I don't want you to do that. I want you to focus on something else. So this dies, but it's still due.
Okay. Diane said, would love to hear more about how to identify and use milestones.
Well, we can talk about that during the class that's the 7minutelife.com/project. And John, if someone will write that down.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the.
Milestones are key when it comes to projects, and it's who's setting the milestones. My guess is no one is setting the milestones. No one. And we don't know how. And so what happens is the day before it's due, we try to do something and it's not our best because we've procrastinated. We have about 7 minutes left, John. We're happy to answer any questions.
Deborah just made a comment. Hi, Allyson. I'm your neighbor. I live in Pocahontas. Whoop, whoop. I emailed you a few weeks ago. You have some good points. So always good to hear from neighbors. I'm going to scroll back and make sure we didn't miss any.
Okay, well, I'm going to do something that's going to embarrass my team member, Molly. Wave. This is Molly. She has a genetic, I'm not sure what you call it, mutation. She does not procrastinate on anything. A genetic mutation. Everybody's saying, hi, Molly. Literally, she does not procrastinate. And one of the things is she starts and completely finishes each task. John, it looks like you have a question.
Well, Angela asked, is there somewhere I can read about milestones? And then Deborah made the comment, I like how you have simplified organization.
No, there is not any place that we have anything about milestones yet. It's something that I'm very aware of, but most people want just the basics of how they can breathe every day. And so that would be a great thing to talk about in this project class.
Jerry would like a blood transfusion from Molly.
Hey, Molly, there she is.
And Vilka, she shared a link to a project management website. I haven't had a chance to look at, but she shared a link in there. And Diane says, it's the first time I've heard about using milestones. So that may need to be a topic for a whole webinar.
Well, you know, we only have these once a week. And that's why I think people want, you know, we can talk about it, but until you sit down and do it for yourself, you know, it's like watching a golf tournament, but not hiring a coach. So, you know, I do want, and I'm going to write that down one last time. I think we have to quit making decisions to learn and not do. So it's the 7minutelife.com/project. If you want to join me Thursday, and this is just limited, this is live. Thursday, what day did I say that was? The 13th at 6 p.m. and that's Central Standard Time. And this was priced by our group here. It was a, what do they call that? Crowdsourcing. It's $50 for 2 hours. So 4 minutes left, John.
Yeah, Jerry was asking about the webinars. Jerry, we do have these once a week, and they're at 11 a.m. Daylight time, Central Daylight Time. We take the webinars, and they are archived on our YouTube channel, and they're also archived on our website 7minutelife.com under the blog /blog. So you can scroll through there. If there's a topic, you can use the search bar and probably find a webinar on it. We have also compiled those into a library where you can get access for, it's $7 a month. You can get access to a whole bunch of webinars that have been they've been categorized and they have been organized in one place, along with the worksheets and audio versions of them, so that you can listen to them when you commute or when you're working out or doing chores. So that's a great tool, that library. That's something we just started. We just opened up. It's a membership site. It's $7 a month, and you can quit at any time. It's not like a phone contract where you got to opt in for 2 years or something. You can try it for a month for $7, and if you like it, great. If you don't, then do it a different way. But that's a huge database of time management training. Angela just said, give people the link to Teachable, and Allyson just put it on the board. 7minute.teachable.com, and you'll go in and you have to make a free account with Teachable, and then it will allow you to register and sign up.
Hey, John, we've got 2 minutes left. I do want to ask the people that are still here, I believe that our tools are important. I believe our training's important. I know we've talked about it a lot today. I know a lot of people don't know about all the things we have. And I do want to ask, do you want to know? My guess is people must know. They must want to know. We do all of these free. And so I do want people to put in chat. We want people to have opportunities to do low-cost things, because we have a lot of other things that are $297 and $497. We're having a class on the 4th of May that's $1,997. But we don't tell people about those things. We feel like we should let you know, and these live events are the best way to let you know. So, John, I'd like people to put in there, we're going to continue to tell them about what we do, but if you drive into a Ford dealership to ask questions, my guess is you want to buy a car. So, John, can you just kind of let us know, because I can't see the chat.
Well, I haven't had any responses. We just have Angela's thanking you, Allyson. Deborah's mentioned she uses Teachable, but we don't have any questions or comments regarding that right now. And we're at 12:29. What would you suggest as we close up here is the next step they should take, like the first step they should take when they get off this webinar to apply what they've learned today?
Well, I think they have to continue to learn, but I think they also have to learn how to do. Until you know how to create your 50411, to create micro actions, to get out from under the unfinished tasks. I think we have to take it one step at a time. And so this class coming up is going to be that first step.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds great.
It's 12:30. We're done. I hope all the people on YouTube have enjoyed this. All the people on Facebook, I'm glad you're here. I'm Allyson Lewis with the 7-Minute Life. Come visit us, and we'll see you again next Tuesday.
Bye now.